Alright, so here we have an A1466 that's not powering on. It says not powering on, but shows it's charging. So we're going to open up this MacBook Air and see what's going on inside this MacBook Air and see if we can make it work again. And now, I may have gotten Vision Engineering to get us a Mantis microscope view for free so that when you come back to work you won't have to bend over to use it. I'm an influencer. Let's influence this board to work. Now, it looks like this MacBook Air is taking nothing. Wait, no, now it's taking something. Alright, we're at 30 milliamps, but not turning on. So this is close to a Paul board here. So we're going to unplug everything from this board and see if it's still taking only 30 milliamps. It's typically a missing PM Sleep S4L, and we are going to solve this missing PM Sleep S4L. We're going to break its back, F its ass, and make it humble. The Iron Chic way. Anel is chanting 20 milliamps. You fucking prick. Alright, so we plug it in. And it's still doing the whole thing where it takes 29 milliamps and doesn't turn on. I still occasionally hear some static. I'm about to table flip and toss all this stuff into the garbage. Very close to it. Let's see, I gotta make sure I have somebody that's trustworthy in chat. So, here, is it the connector? Like if I do this, static? Okay, so it's not the plug that's doing it. It's got to be something else. Alright, so we got a couple of things to check for here. The first thing is going to be our PP bus G3 hot. Present. PP3V42 obviously present because we got it light in the charger. PPVRTC G3 hot. Present. PMDSW power good present. PP5ES5 present. PP5ES fucking Anel. I think this is Anel's fault. That bastard. He's the one who said this shit out loud. Made it happen. Look at that. It's not even power cycling. It's just straight up 30 milliamps. It sucks. No blinking either. Nothing. This is karma. This is Anel's fault, that bastard. He was chanting in the chat, literally chanting at the top of his fucking skateboarder wearing horn-rimmed glasses lungs. 20 milliamps, 20 milliamps, 20 milliamps. What do I have? Okay, it went up fucking 30 milliamps, but it's still dead! Anel! You bastard. This is going right in your queue for when you get back here. You're replacing CPUs on these. Don't get it twisted. This is all you. Let's see. Maybe we have a short circuit on a rail. That's gonna... Who am I kidding? It's never that. Yeah, of course not. Hello, JP. Hello, Pink Senna. Why? Whoa, here we go. Yes! 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 I found you! Corrosion! I defeat you, Anel. I am going to defeat you. Alright, so what is that for? Let's take a look in our schematic and board view. That is the... Oh, look at that! Corrosion right on the 32 kilohertz clock. Going straight to my PCH. The clock going straight to my PCH is corroded. How you like that, Anel? I'm gonna fix this and it's gonna work. Suck it. Alright, so we are going to turn on my fume extractor. We're gonna remove this clock chip and replace it with a better one. Oh yeah. We're going to use that quick 861DW that's now back in stock at store.rossmangroup.com. It's never going out of stock again. The moment that goes out of stock is the moment the shipping person's paycheck goes out of stock. Because he's supposed to do inventory and we're not supposed to be missing shit anymore. But if you noticed, You go to store.rossmangroup.com, we got a quick 861DW for you. That's right. Nice, beautiful hot air station. Hannah will pull the trigger on that shipping person herself if it ever goes out of stock again. Won't you, Hannah? My soldering station has its temperature turned down as well as its airflow. Strange. Very strange. Okay, let's get rid of all that old solder. Steve, I think what I need to do is take all of my hardware and throw it in the East River and start fresh. When I move, that's probably what I'm going to do. Different brand of everything. Different brand, different model, I'm just going to buy it new. Because everything I got here I bought used at some point in time. And I've tried different different microphone, and different microphone transmitter, and different microphone transmitter frequency on these things, and it still does that random annoying thing. So I think what I'm going to wind up doing is just replacing it all in one foul swoop with new rather than used. Okay. Now we add some new solder. What are the employees' rights like in New York regarding sick pay? I honestly have no idea. What I've always done is I've tried to hire people who are not pieces of shit and just give them unlimited sick leave. It's kind of like unlimited with your cell phone carrier, like they claim unlimited data, but it's not actually unlimited because if you actually try to use it and you abuse it, they'll cut it off because of some shit at page 70 something in the contract. If somebody gets hit by a truck, I'm not gonna. Anel has full sick leave until he fully recovers, and full sick leave means like full salary. But I've never been at a point. That's the thing. When I was first starting out and I needed every last dollar, people, I think they understood because they saw that I wasn't making a lot more than them in the beginning. Like they would actually show up sick and whatnot, but obviously if you get hit by a truck, you can't. But I try to set it up to where, you hire people who are not pieces of shit. They use the sick leave when they really need it. And it's not like something where they go, well, I have 10 sick days and I'm getting to the end of the year, so I might as well use them all because they're in my allowance. And I imagine that kind of thing would have to change if you become a large company, because once you're a large company, people stop giving a fuck. It's just let me milk. The employees say, let me milk the owner for everything I can, and the owners say, let me milk the staff for all I can. And luckily, I'm not anywhere close to that sort of arrangement, which makes me happy. I don't know. When it comes to shit like you only have this many sick days or I need to see a doctor's note or something, I can't expect people to do decent work if you treat them like fucking 2-year-olds. So I never looked it up. And then there's keeping track of them and all that shit. I don't want to keep track of it. Ugh. Such a mess. I think part of it is because I actually got fired for using sick days. So I worked at this company called 3P Delivery. In Staten Island, and they were located in the back of a Lowe's. I got the job via Good Temps, and I was so excited when I got this job. I was like jumping for joy at $12 an hour because I was leaving a job that paid $6.905, so $6.90.5 an hour. Because that's the type of raises you get when you're in the union. You're not going to get $6.75, which is minimum wage, you're going to get $6.905 per hour. Go union. And it's funny because the union dues were such that if I would have to work, I think, over 50 to 60 hours a week for the extra 17.5 cents they gave me to counteract the union dues. But anyway, enough ranting on unions for the time being. The point of the matter is, when I quit that job and I found this job at Good Temps, I thought, I felt rich. I just almost doubled my salary. And I just had to type, and which I was fairly good at doing. I'm pretty good for somebody who only types with two fingers. And this is so dumb. This is where I think I understand where my customers are coming from. You're all going to think this is dumb, but I got myself this set of speakers, this TLCS 3.6. And I like high-end audio. I didn't pay retail, obviously, but I paid, I think, somewhere between $1,000 and $1,500, and I ruined them doing something stupid. So there was a mole, there was a dent in the dome, and I thought if I played a tone that it would straighten itself out. I was being a dumb teenager. I was 17 years old. I was a fucking idiot. I'll admit it. I was a moron. And I broke them, and I actually had so much stress over the fact that I just broke something that would have cost thousands of dollars to replace. This is before I knew I could just replace the fucking tweeter. I was such an idiot as a teenager, I swear. And that I think that I wound up making myself sick. Part of it was probably because I was overworking myself. I was putting far too much effort into work, even though I didn't have my own company at the time, just the jobs I was working. But the other part was probably because I just felt very stressed out over the fact that this is something that at the time, that was a lot of money to me. It really was. I put I put money away every month so that I could treat myself to this. I didn't buy a car. All the other kids were going to driver's ed and getting themselves cars. I got myself a set of freaking phase coherent TLCS 3.6s. But I saved up for them. And I got a 102 fever. Again, maybe it was overworking, maybe it was just germs from me taking the bus and people coughing all the time while I was on the way to work, or maybe it was just stress. And I took 2 days off in a row for sick days. But what happens? I get a call saying, "Oh yeah, you don't have to go to work. You're fired." I'm like, "Okay, well, why am I fired?" Well, it looks like the reason they gave us is you had taken you took 2 days off. And I had been working there at the time for about 2 months. I showed up every day. I showed up early. I would start working early even if I wasn't punched in yet. And I would stay late if there was anything to do, and I would not punch out late. I would not take a long lunch break. I would clean my desk area. And I was the fastest typer there. Let's just be real. When I do Type Racer and you watch my Type Racer streams, I smoke everybody in the store on Type Racer with 2 fingers.
Except me.
I'll beat you with a rubber keyboard, mofo. Anyway. And they fucking fired me for taking 2 days off. And that's the kind of thing I remember. Like, fuck that company. It has been... That was in 2006, summer of 2006. It's been 13 years, and never going to forget that I think 3P delivery are pieces of shit. I'm never going to forget that. That's what you did, because I quit my other job to come work here. I put in effort. I got sick. I came back after being sick. I didn't expect to be paid for being sick. You didn't have to pay me for being sick. I don't expect any pay at all, and you fucking fire me because of it. Well, fuck you, and fuck your company. I never buy shit at Lowe's. If I see that something I need is available at Lowe's, but if I go 20 or 30 miles out of the way, I'll get it. I'll do that to not do business with Lowe's or a company that uses 3P delivery. So it's not that I'm nice. I don't give sick leave, unlimited sick leave because I'm nice. It's really not. Again, people assume that you're a good person. And I talked about this in the video I did recently, the one where I talked about a word on loyalty to bad jobs. I'm not a great person. I'm not even a good person. I'm a piece of shit. But I understand that I don't want to create that bad will with the people that work here, because they're the people that decide if they're going to do repairs for the customer properly. They're the ones that are going to decide, are they valuing customer data? They're the ones that are going to make the decision as to whether they unscrew the SSD before putting heat on the side of the board that has the SSD on it. These small little decisions are the types of things that you're going to care about if you're treated well, and you're not going to care about if you're treated like shit. And here's the thing, at the end of the day, if customer data gets destroyed or something terrible happens, they're not on the hook for it, because they can walk out. My name's in the door. My name's in the license. My name's in the website. My name's in the bank account. I'm the one who gets fucked if they do something awful. So reducing their likelihood of doing anything awful by providing a work environment where admittedly, again, I'm not a good person. I'm a piece of shit. I really am. But not being a complete piece of shit It's not easy working here. I'm probably an asshole to work for. I have unrealistic expectations of people. I expect people to be able to do something if I'm able to do it, even if they have different capabilities or experience levels. I'm sure I'm a terrible asshole boss to work for. But I'm not as bad as 3P delivery, and that's really what I'm going for. So yeah, when it comes to sick days, just, this shit just drives me nuts. And the shit that pisses me off is how loyal people will be to companies that treat them like effing garbage. Like, if a company makes it very clear and obvious that you are disposable, then why are you so loyal to them? Don't be loyal to companies that will just more than happily throw you out if, or dispose of you the moment it's convenient. Because there are other employers out there that could actually use people that have a brain, that could use people that are loyal, that could use people that know what they're doing and are willing to put in effort to not just do the job that you asked them to do, but also figure out why it is you asked them to do that and figure out if there's a better way to do it and then start doing that. So let's check this out and see if it spins. See if we got a fan spin on this. Ahem. Ahem. Fan spin! Yes! Yes! Anel? No, seriously. Anel was chanting in my live chat. Anel was chanting, praying that this would be 20 milliamps, missing PM sleep S4L. What? What? Yeah, that's right. Anyway, let's go over what was going on over here. So we had some corrosion on this chip, U1900. What is U1900 for? Let's take a look. So U1900 is a clock chip. This manages a 25 megahertz clock for the Cameron Thunderbolt and a 32 kilohertz clock, the RTC, the real-time clock. Now, what is this doing? So not only is this chip creating a voltage, it's also creating a clock signal. Now, here's the thing. As you saw, PPV RTC G3 hot, the voltage rail it creates, this is present. I measured this. That's 3.3 volts, like it's supposed to be. It was there. And here's the other thing that people will get confused. See over here where there was corrosion on the PCH clock 32? This is something that confuses people, and this is one of the reasons I don't have a frequency counter or don't have the oscilloscope on the table. This clock signal could be there, but if it's corrupt or jagged in any way, it won't work. Nothing will work right. So the clock signal is going to be required because you have often multiple components that are going to be working on it. So let's say that let's go back to the really old days of, let's say I was, working at Avatar Studios and you're trying to sync a tape machine to a drum machine, or you're trying to sync this tape machine to that tape machine because you're recording two things at the same time and you want everything to be in sync. Back in the days with Studer A800s and A827s. If you have multiple devices, you want to be on a clock so they're both starting and stopping and working at the same time. And often in these machines, you have multiple things working together. If you don't have a clock, then none of them are going to start. Think of it like an alarm clock, If my alarm clock rings at 9 in the morning, I'll get up and go to the gym. If my alarm clock does not ring at 9 in the morning, then, well, my trainer's going to be waiting in the gym for nothing. So if the clock signal is not proper or it's corrupt or jagged, then this is never going to start. And what is this over here? That's a CPU. A CPU. And we need that CPU to turn on so that it can put out signals like PM Sleep S4L. And this over here is where the clock is going into the PCH. Now let's just take a little look at what the PCH actually does. The PCH is built into the CPU on this model. PCH is Platform Controller Hub. And look over here. System Power Management. System Power Management. Well, what is this for over here? System Power Management. You have your ins on the left and your outs on the right. And many of these outs over here are sleep signals. PM Sleep S5L, PM Sleep S4L, PM Sleep S3L, all of Paul's favorite sleep signals. And which one was missing here? PM Sleep S4L. What does PM Sleep S4L do? PM Sleep S4L is going to be responsible for turning on many of the rails. Now, we checked some of the rails. Let's just go over to page 60-something where they actually list all the rails in this machine. Remember, when you have a no power situation, you go through your power rails. And over here, there's a list of power rails in the machine. And we had the G3 hot rails were present. We had our S5 rails. I measured those. Those were present. But we were missing our S4 rails. I measured PP5ES4 RS3, and that wasn't present. So what enables PP5ES4? Let's take a look at U7501. U7501 is the chip that's going to create this. So this is PP5ES4. What's going to enable this? Right over here. Enable P5ES4 RS3EN. Where does that come from? P5ES4 RS3EN over here. Where does that come from? Bam. Let's take a look at this section. If Follow the rabbit all the way down the rabbit hole. That shows up from here, 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 here. PM sleep S4L. Now, why isn't PM sleep? Where's PM sleep S4L come from? The CPU. Why isn't the CPU turning on? Because the clock is not working. Why is the clock not working? Because it's corroded. How do we find that out? By using our brain, but more importantly, using our eyes. Because the thing is, I can use my brain all day to tell you why it's not working, but there are so many possibilities as to why this isn't working. You need to have a keen eye. It's very important to have a keen eye to see these things. Now, if I had measured that in the oscilloscope, because I've done this many times before, here's the fucked up part, is that even on a decent oscilloscope, it'll measure. You'll see a 32 kilohertz clock, but it's not the same as it is when the chip is not corroded. When it's corroded, something's going on there that's going to mess it up. And this is why getting boards that somebody has pre-ultrasonic sucks. This is why dealing with other stores that pre-ultrasonic the boards before sending them to you sucks. Because the chances of finding that, if that corrosion was cleaned away, it was barely visible right now. Can you imagine how much of a nightmare it would have been to find that? The thing is, here's where the ability to be good at this comes from. Now, I know that there are certain things that are going to cause missing PM sleep S4L. I know it from experience. So if I had that experience and I got a board from a store that was cleaned and ultrasonic already, I would know to look and go, okay, let me look at the clock chip and see what it looks like. I'm going to zoom in at 30x and see if it looks like there was corrosion that maybe changed the color of the solder or changed the texture of it, that they ultrasonicked away, but they left behind the fact that those joints were corroded. And then I replace it. But without experience, without having done this for many, many years on this very specific board, I'd have no idea. None whatsoever, which is why it's really important if you're a store and you're outsourcing board repairs to another business like Tim's or mine, that if you ultrasonic the board, pictures. Where was the original corrosion? Good pictures, not some cell phone pic from up here using the selfie cam, a good picture of where everything was so that we have an idea of what it was like before. I understand. You want to ultrasonic the board yourself because why give up your profit margin if you don't have to? You hate sending boards out to people like me because that means it takes out of your bottom line, and I get it. I'm not saying don't do it. I'm simply saying if you're going to do that, take pictures, take notes. This is very important because if you don't have that, it'll be very difficult to find out what's wrong with the board. This is likely my last board video that I'm going to post before we hit 1 million subscribers, which is really cool. Kind of cool. So that's it for today, and as always, I hope you learned something. I will see you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching, and see you in the next one.